There is said to be real disappointment in the Boston Red Sox organization today after not keeping Alex Bregman. I am very confused by their real disappointment. And when I hear real disappointment, that just means they fully expected to have him. I cannot understand why anybody would fully expect to have a Scott Boras client. Stupid. This is a Hold My Ball podcast. Let's talk about it. So the Boston Red Sox bring Alex Bregman in. If you remember this correctly, it was a total nightmare for Devers, and then it turned into be a nightmare for Boston, and then they ended up getting rid of Devers for nothing, and then they ended up keeping Bregman, clearly, did his thing, signed him for 3 years, $120 million, when you already have your third baseman of the future, young. You just paid him a $380 million or something. I don't know what it was. It was a lot. And then you bring an old veteran in on a 3-year, $120 million contract, but this is a Scott Boras contract. 3 years with an opt-out after one. You think that he's not going to opt out? He was always going to opt out and test the waters because Scott Boras is his agent. He could have hit 120 and had 2 home runs and played every game. He still would have opted out because that wouldn't have been enough to say, this guy sucks. That wouldn't have been enough to overshadow what Alex Bregman at 31 years old has done in his career. It would have been a fluke season. He still would have got paid by somebody. So to even give him the opt-out and expect that he's going to stay with you, one of the dumber things I've heard in a long time. I mean, I don't put any blame on anybody here but the Red Sox. How can you be this dumb? You let go of Devers, which fine. Is what it is. I don't know behind the scenes. It seemed to me like they just didn't really like Devers. But then why would you pay him that much money? And then you bring this guy in to do this. Hey, we're going to sign you X amount of years, 300-something million. You're our third baseman, yada, yada. And then you bring another guy in. You're like, we're giving him 3 years. We want him to play third so you can compete for your spot, which today's guys, they're not all about competing. You know that. I know that is what it is. But you ask him to play first base. I don't want to do that. Yes, I'm DH. I'm not a DH. I'm a third baseman. And it all just really goes south for Boston when it comes to this. It's the only story that anybody's talking about. They're also talking about how good of a teammate Bregman's been. He's on the bus during spring training with everybody instead of like the veteran bus. He's building leadership. He's doing his thing, and everybody loves him. And it's like, all right, Devers is gone. It is what it is. But, hey, we got Bregman, and Bregman's the man. And then Bregman says, goodbye, see you later. I don't understand their plan here. I think it's one of the dumbest things I've seen a sports organization do in a long time, maybe next to like just trading Luka for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is the worst. But to have Boston be confused here, you're dealing with Boras. This guy is the king of bad contracts for teams and amazing contracts for players. He doesn't care about your team. Why would he? He cares about his money, which is in turn his client's money. So he gets his clients the best possible situation. And then who cares about anybody else? I promise you, the only reason he said, hey, Breg, we're putting an opt-out in here after 1 year of your 3-year contract because we're leaving. We're leaving. Either Boston's going to pay you the highest or somebody else is. But Boston would have given him 6 years in total. So his 3-year contract, they were ready to go like 6 years, 210 or something. And instead, he signed, like 5 years, 165, I think is what he signed for, which is what, 32, 33 a year? About 32 a year? I don't know. Anyways, I don't understand how teams are confused when a Boras guy does something like this. Look at the Boras contracts. Let's go over a few of them. Soto, 15 years, $765 million, $51 million until he's 40. They're paying him $51 million a year until he's 40. He's got an opt-out in 5 years. You think Soto's not going to opt out? If you do, you're an idiot. He's going to opt out, 1,000,000%. He's going to opt out. That's what's going to happen. None of this is deferred. That's even worse. So you're paying this dude a legitimate $50-something million a year. Next contract, Garrett Cole. This one is, I think, a great contract for both. 9 years, record $325 million, $24 million. That's an AAV of 36 a year, which for a pitcher, highest contract total, highest contract per year, and they're doing this until he's 37, which I'm okay with because this is 37 to me, especially for a pitcher, is like the end of what could be their best time. 37 for a pitcher is a lot different than it is for a position player. But again, he had an opt-out, which he decided to trigger. Ultimately declined it when nobody else wanted it. That's really what happened. So he stayed with the Yanks. But he did exercise the option. Of course, why wouldn't he? He signed a record deal, the most a pitcher has ever been paid, both total and by year. And he still opted out. How come teams aren't learning from this with Boras, guys? Blake Snell, here's a finesse. 2 years, $62 million with the Giants, and a $17 million signing bonus. And an opt-out after 1 year. He signed a 2-year contract with a 1-year opt-out. What would you do this for? What would the Giants do this for? Do you think he exercised the opt-out? You bet he did. He left to the Dodgers after giving San Francisco a slow start because he wasn't signed during spring training. If you remember, he was like, he didn't have the right warm-up, the whole deal. He didn't have spring training and all that. And he was not good. He had a super slow start with him. He was kind of getting hit around. And then he ended up throwing 104 innings for him and went 5-3. With a $17 million signing bonus and $31 million a year, they paid him $48 million to go 5-3 for him in 100 innings. That's crazy. Corbin Burns, 6 years, $210 million. That's $35 million a year. And a $10 million signing bonus. They're paying him till he's 35. Again, not a bad contract, I don't think, but he's got an opt-out after year 3. You think he's going to exercise it? Of course he is. Year 1, he went 3-2 through 61 innings and had a 2.6 ERA. Not bad. Unfortunately, he had Tommy John in June. He only pitched till June. He's expected to miss most of 2026. So now 2 years of his contract, the first year essentially, and the second year, gone, done. And then how's he going to be when he comes back? Who knows? 2 years of the $6 million contract that you're paying a guy $35 million for with a $10 million signing bonus. So far, you've paid this dude $80 million. In 2026, you'll pay him another 35. So 35 plus 10, $80 million in the first 2 years of the contract. And he's probably going to go 3-2 for you in 61 innings. I don't see, if they're not like where they need to be, I don't think they're going to rush him back after Tommy John. He got it in June. It'll be a year in June. I can't see him coming back and doing much of significance in 26. And then you got Bregman, 3 years, $120 million, opt-out after year 1, which he took and bounced. Screwing these guys. He screwed them. I will say Boston's young, and I think Boston's going to be just fine without Bregman. I really do. Let these young guys spin. It's going to be good. Hey, guess who else Boras has got? Chris Bryant. How about that one, huh? 7 years, $182 million. That's $27 a year until he's 36. I forgot this guy even played anymore. And he's still got 3 years left on this contract. That's tough. Rocky's just eating a Boras contract. How about Xander Bogaerts? 11 years, $280 million. They're paying him $25 million a year until he's 40, the Padres. 40. And the guy's accumulated a 738 OPS in 3 years with the Padres. 738 OPS in 3 years for $25 million a year. He's got 8 years to go on his contract. You think it's going to get better? I don't. 8 years. The guy's 33. His 8 years are going to be 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. That's brutal. Sean Manaea. I love this guy. I really like this guy. I've heard he's a good dude. I'm a big fan of him. But 3 years, $75 million. He signed that. He just finished his first year. He went 2-4 with a 5.64 ERA and a negative 0.4 WAR. A 2025 injury, delayed his start to the season. And now, for a guy that you paid $25 million to last year, and you have 2 years left to pay him $25 million, in the second year of his 3-year contract, you are now, they've said that they're hoping he bounces back this year and earns a spot in the rotation for 26. So the guy you're paying $25 million to, you're hoping that he bounces back and earns a spot in your rotation? $25 million for Hope, that's not ideal. Tough. Lance McCullers, 5-year, $85 million. Now, these are pitchers and their injuries, but 5 years, $85 million, you're paying him $17 million a year until 2026. So he's got this coming season is his last year of the contract. But this dude went 4-2 in 8 starts the first year of this contract. This is a 5-year contract, and he's in his last year coming up. 4-2 in his first season of this contract, where he had 8 starts. 8 starts. Then he had an injury, and then he missed 23 and 24 altogether. Hasn't thrown a pitch in either of those years. And then he went 2-5 last year in his return with a 6.5 ERA in 2025 last year in 13 starts. So of the 5 years you've had this guy, or the 4 in his 5-year contract, collectively in 2 of them, he's gone 6-7 for you with a 6.5 ERA. He's gone 6-7 over 4 years. That's crazy. 8 starts in 13. He's had 21 starts for you in 4 years. And now you have 1 more year left of him. Brutal. And guess who else Boras has? Anthony Rendon. Don't even need to go into that. Everybody knows that story. When teams stop dealing with Boras in this fashion, where they're like, we know what you're trying to do. Obviously, they know. Obviously, both sides know what's going on. But to hear that the Red Sox were very disappointed and almost flabbergasted. What do you mean he's not? How did he go to the Cubs? Well, it doesn't matter. He's going where the money is because that's what a Boras client does. It's crazy. So I don't know that these players are the problem. Boras is the problem for teams. Boras is a problem for baseball teams, and he has built himself to be the best. The best players in the league are represented by Scott Boras, so it's a double-edged sword. There's nothing you could do about it. You want these guys, he's going to grind you down to pay you. You're going to have to pay the guys. But, man, I think this is what we're seeing. This is what we're starting to see. Bregman gets a 5-year deal, which takes him to age 36 or 7. Maybe 36. I don't know. I'm good with that. I'm all for paying guys a lot of money in a short window frame. These big, long contracts are dying. I'm telling you, they're going to die. They're going away. The Juan Soto one, hilarious. Xander Bogaerts is a good way to look and go, yeah, this guy was a stud when we signed him. Was it worth it? Is it going to be worth it in 8 years? No, it's not. This game has way too much guessing at stake to see if a guy's going to be good. Way too many projections in this game. There's way too many to sign guys for 10, 12, 15 years. Unbelievable. Bellinger hasn't signed yet because he wants 7 years. He's 31 or 2? I don't know. He wants to go to 38, 39 years old and have somebody pay him. Belly should get a five-year deal with a bunch of money. 4-year. I'd give him 4 years, a whole bunch of money. I'd let him go till he's 35, 36, and then after that, we can figure it out. That's what I would do. I just don't think that this is sustainable for organizations to go, this makes sense. There's no way. There's just no way it does. So Bellinger's looking for 7 years. Bellinger is 30 years old right now. When is his birthday? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Let's say he turns 32 this year. So if you want 7 years, you're going to go 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. And you want a big contract? Are you paying a 38-year-old Cody Bellinger, what, $35 million a year? $30 million a year? I don't want to. And I love Bellinger. He's my favorite player. It's very simple. Very simple. So I'm not mad at these players for getting paid. I'm not mad at Boras for getting paid. And I'm not even mad at the teams. I'm just amazed that these teams get amazed by oh, wow, what happened? It's Boras. Boras is the problem. Now, do I love Bregman on the Cubs? Yeah. Hell yeah. This guy's replacing Chris Bryant, really. That's crazy. That's just crazy. But this is baseball. This is today's baseball. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to see a turnaround we're going to see a turnaround in these contracts. More money, shorter years. That's what it's going to be. Or maybe the same money, just shorter years, because the money's already a lot. But between Boras and any other agency out there, I think it's going to be harder to sell teams on a long-term contract given the recent history of how they've all been. No long-term contracts work out well. They just don't. such a small percentage of them do, and I'm telling you the rest just don't. So these teams are just looking at history going, why? And the teams are the ones with all the power. If they all just decided we're not going to freaking do this anymore, guess who loses power? Boras. When his players aren't playing. When his players aren't getting paid. Too much? No, nobody's going to take him at that rate. And give him a year off, see how that goes for him. Instead of $22 million, they're asking for $30 million. Cool. We're not paying that. So instead of making $22 million this year, tell him not play baseball at all and see how it goes. Make $0. That's not fun. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how it goes. The one guy that I think is going to get paid a ton, set a new record, will be Tarek Skubal probably until Paul Skeens comes up and breaks that. But I think Skubal should get paid. I think it's going to be a short term, considering all the rest of these contracts. I think it's going to be 5 years. Skubal's 31. He's going to be 31 all season, I think. But I think his birthday's like December or late or something. Skubal. Yeah, Skubal is, he's 29. Skubal's going to get 7 years and all the money in the world. And he should. I think he should. I say he gets 6 or 7 years and all the money anybody's willing to pay. And I'm okay with that contract because at 30, you're young. That's not a long-term contract. That's not 10 years. Hey, we'll pay you till you're 40. We'll give you 36, 37 years old. See how you're doing then. You're a pitcher. Everybody's one pitch away. So to pay this kind of money is crazy. But all right, there's my rant on the real problem in baseball. And I guess Boras. It's not Boras. It's just the people paying Boras and not thinking, yeah, let's do a 9-year let's do a 2-year contract for $80 million with an opt-out after the first year. We're for sure keeping Blake Snell, aren't we? No? Fuck. What do you guys think is going to happen if Blake Snell goes to LA, wins a championship? Insane. Absolutely insane. So whatever. We'll see. This is the Hold My Ball podcast. Thank you guys for listening. As always, if you made it this far, let's put something in the chat. What's the word we want to go with today? Let's do let's type Boras. Boras in the chat. Boras on the comment section, whatever. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Always do what doesn't cost you any money, which is like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about it. Pretend like you like it and thumbs up it anyways. Let the video play all the way through just because it helps. Turn the volume down and put it on in the background. I don't really care. I love when you guys help me for free. Appreciate y'all. Love you so much. This is the Hold My Ball podcast. We got a lot going on. Baseball's right around the corner. We will see you on the next episode.